That's who we are. And that's why you've put me here, to lead and to be able to galvanize all of you. This is what I'm appealing for us at this time. And to say that let's put this behind us and let us start
Mr. Governor.
afresh.
Okay, Mr. Governor, I've got a couple of questions for you. Number one will be, I'd like you to tell me who ordered the removal of the CCTV at the toll gate, who ordered the turning on of the lights at the toll gate the night the incident happened. And secondly, I'd like to ask you, I mean, is there a point where you engage with the military to be able to apologize to the people, you know, to start the process of reconciliation at least? We saw pictures of the military going on the streets and talking to people yesterday. Is there a point that the high command of the military will do that? But who ordered the removal of the CCTV at the toll gate and turning off the lights before that incident happened? Who ordered that?
Thank you very much. And we'll just speak straight the truth, what happened. Nobody ordered. There were security of LCC on the ground, because I had called the managing director of LCC that night when I saw the picture. And what he said to me that because of the curfew that has been announced, they took a decision and to say they will take out installations that are critical to them. That camera that you saw, it's not a security camera. That camera that you saw, it's not a motion camera. It's a laser camera for vehicles. When you are approaching the toll plaza, you will remember that there's a camera that is at the level of your car. What that camera does, it picks the tag on your car and it picks your number plate. That's where you get the boom before you approach when you're on the fast track lane, and you get the boom up so that you can pass. That is what that camera does. It's not a security camera. It's not a camera for human beings or something. It's an infrared camera that just picks the tag on the vehicles. And that's the truth. Security cameras for the Lekki Toll Plaza are still available. These are some of the footage that we're going to use for our own investigation. Security cameras are installed on top of towers, and they are there because I have seen them, and they are live. They are still recorded. Nobody can touch the security camera. That's why they are called security. The camera that they pulled off, it was a decision that the local security company, the local personnel of LCC took in conjunction with their managing director, and said that because we're not going to be here, because it's a curfew from tomorrow or from tonight, these are cameras that are low levels when you are driving approach, especially on the left and on the far right hand side. When you're driving, those are the cameras that you see close to your car, right? That picks the infrared, the tag, infrared on your vehicles. And anybody can come, and these are things that we can transparently leave open for citizens to come and verify when the panel of inquiry starts. We'll drop this as evidence, as it were, so that experts can review and see what kind of cameras are these cameras that were shown at the footage. And I think that is the honest and the truthful position of that. I don't have anything. I mean, the managing of LCC does not even have a reportage line to me. I don't talk to him, he doesn't talk to me. The second question around the light. I understand there is also a concessionaire that manages the LED board on top. They are the ones that have the concession agreement and have the right. I saw a letter, like any other person said. The company said that they pull off the lights because of the curfew that the state government had put in place. Those were their own reported. Those were their own point. I've never spoken to the owner of that business. Not in the last 1 week. I've never spoken. So there's no communication that will reflect that we influence of. That was a decision that a corporate organization took, right, and said that because of the curfew, they are taking down, their LED screen from the toll plaza, and that was what they reported, and that I believe was the reason, for them turning off the LED screen. I think your second question.
Yeah, at what point will you get the military probably, to even apologize to the people?
Oh yeah,
so that at least the reconciliation can start?
Thank you. Absolutely. So the gentleman that was holding the mic and was restraining and encouraging the kids, that's an officer that I spoke to almost all the time. He's a commodore, in the Nigerian Air Force. So that is the kind of reportage that I want to see. That's the kind of collaboration that we want to see on our street. We want to see a real engagement, a real partnership between the security formative and the citizens that they were meant to be protecting. That should indeed be a clear example that everybody needs to emulate, without being forced, without being cajoled. This is something that should form, our relationship going forward, right? In terms of apology and rest of it, I think it's work in progress. I will continue to apologize. I will continue to engage, at the highest level that they need to do that, and for us to begin to see real closure to all of this matter and be able to see real, genuine reconciliation along this matter, But I will not stop at anything to ensure that I continue to apologize everyone, to all of us, on this line that we found ourselves.
Well, Governor, one, if the CCTV footage was not removed, is it possible to make it public so that people can see the content? And then yesterday
absolutely.
Yesterday there was mayhem across the city of Lagos. You said you've spoken with the Chief of Defense Staff, you've spoken with the Chief of Army Staff, with all that carnage in different parts of Lagos and arson and confusion. Have you had any phone call from the President of Nigeria, or you have been in touch with President Buhari to brief him about the situation in Lagos yesterday so that he can be aware? And if so, what is he saying to you? And in the midst of all of this, despite all your efforts, do you feel frustrated? Do you feel overwhelmed that you've tried so much? You talked to the protesters, you went to Abuja, but still, Lagos has become the center of the anger of the youths.
Well, thank you very much, Ruben. I made phone calls to the president. I made calls to want to speak to the president twice yesterday. First time he hadn't come to the office, and the second time it was at a fake meeting. So I haven't spoken to him directly, but I actually did call to want to speak with him. But I, like I said, it was at fake meeting, and he probably had his briefing. So he was actually the one that asked the Chief of Defense Staff to call me. And I think it was when he got my message, right? So because when the Chief of Defense Staff called me, he said to me, it was the president that asked him to call. So I haven't spoken to him directly, maybe sometime later today that might happen. So I don't have the report to say this was what he said or anything, because we haven't spoken. So regarding the level of destruction that we've seen, so those were, the levels of escalation that I had to do. Each time I get a report, or each time I see a video trending of the next, facility that has been taught. So I was escalating my, well, I wouldn't call it anger, but my attempt to be able to stand and to be able to halt, the level of destruction that we're seeing. And that was what led to all of those calls coming in, right? And I don't understand, I don't know the reportage line or the protocols of the military. How do they come out? How do they, what is their line of chain of command? I don't, and I cannot, claim that. It's something that is known to everyone. But eventually they said to me that they will come out, and we've seen quite a number of them responding to a lot of those facilities. But of course, we can say after the effect, these buildings have already been touched, and so for us is going forward is to ensure that we still do not have a repeat of what we saw yesterday. In all terms, we should not have a repeat of what we saw yesterday. That's one. Secondly is to answer the question that if there's a need to present, those cameras for verification, yes, they are available. I'm sure the judicial panel or the public, can indeed, there are experts that know these things, can indeed come and look at this camera and see for themselves what those cameras indeed, what they do, and what they're meant for.
Thank you, Mr. Governor. Now, what is the current status with the promises that you made to the NSAS protesters before we lose sight of the real issues here?
Well, okay, so thank you, Tundu. The promises are still valid. The promise were that we set up, we inaugurated a judicial panel of inquiry headed by retired Justice Doris Okwobi on Monday, after transparently, informing our general citizens that these are the panel members. And the panel members also has other individuals of impeccable record. Ebun Adegurua, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. There's a lady, Doris, I don't know her surname now. They are both from the civil society organization. I mean, they were recommended by their various bodies. I do not know them. I know of Ebun, but I've never met him until, I was doing the swearing in for him. It also includes a retired Deputy Inspector General of Police, DIG Lakanu. It also includes a human rights activist. I think Mr. Shegun is a lawyer, Mr. Shegun Adesanya, I think. I've never met him as well. So he was also recommended, even till we speak. And there's a director in the civil, I think is Shegun Awusanya, yes. And there's a director in the office of, maybe it's civil litigation or something. There's a director, one of our arms of judicial reform in Lagos, there's a director there. And there's meant to be one youth representative, proper youth amongst the protesters. And they got back to me and said, no, one is not good enough for us, make it two. And immediately we agreed. We said, okay, we will have 2 youth representatives in the panel, and they were meant to go through an election process or their own internal process of determining who those 2 youths will be. We're still waiting. We would want to have them. The panel have said it out that they need them to be in the sitting. So I'm using this opportunity again to appeal that the representative of the youth who are amongst the NSAS protesters, please bring up the 2 names and let this judicial panel get to work as soon as possible. The other thing that we've done is we've set up, at the first instance, a 200 million naira fund. And what we said to them is they have the absolute right to determine who gets what and what each person gets. They have the right to determine that, and all they need to just say to us is, this person needs to be paid this certain amount, and immediately the checks will be presented to them. How they run the panel is fully at the discretion of all of them. At open session, at closed sessions, the number of interviews they want to grant, the number of public engagement they want to see, it's fully at their own sitting, and we've given them all the rights without any form of hindrance. So that panel, it's still available. Let's please not forget the whole essence of this protest. It's something that everybody worldwide had commended, and the only way we can take it forward is to activate all of the requests and the requirements on that. Families that have been brutalized by SARS, we've asked them in Lagos, come forward. That have been killed, unfortunately, come forward. That have had incidents of any form of criminality, please come forward. Their telephone numbers, their emails have been publicized. Where they'll be sitting, the publication to that effect also have been made. So let all of us take full advantage of this, and let's see real, genuine reconciliation happen in our environment, happen in our system, so that indeed we can take this forward and we all can learn from it. I think that's also one of the most, we all can learn from it and know that behaviors that are not acceptable in our society are totally condemnable, and it's something that we will not stand for. Our government would not encourage it, and that's what we believe that all of us should be doing at this point in time.
Okay. Mr. Governor, With all of this happening now, what would be your take on state police? Because, I mean, you have to call the federal to be able to get police support and military support. So what would be your take on state police? If you had access to some level of, security support, you'd be able to do more. And I want to also ask you, in the spirit of investigations, when will the investigation into this Lekki incident start? And, a lot of people are thinking, yeah, you say the security cameras are still there. How can we ensure the integrity and keeping those things a very strong evidence when all of this starts, And just those two questions, and we'll roll from there.
Well, thank you very much. Around state police, this is a conversation that predates even my swearing in as a governor. And it's something that we have also still taken forward and will continue to agitate on. In any true federalism, right, this is one of the minimum things that we need to be able to have a closure with the federal government. I mean, it's taking too long. It's taking so much pain for all of us. The frustration is real. Each one of us can indeed truly really pay as much attention that we require for security as we require at a various state level, right? I mean, you see our own modest attempt with the Lagos State Security Trust Fund. Dr. Ruben, with all humility, were both at the board. Maybe some of you will know at some point in time. And we knew what that board stood for. That was a board that was doing direct intervention for the police, that was helping them in terms of procurement of vehicles, ammunition, uniform, bringing better shape to their offices and the rest of it. And so you can imagine if indeed we have the full state police, how much we can still do, how much employment we can generate, how much local knowledge, more importantly, local knowledge that we'll have. Because the whole idea about state police is not just in the fancy name, it's actually community policing. It's actually ability to be able to know who are the real troublesome people in your neighborhood. Where are the black spots in your neighborhood? Where are the areas you need to concentrate on in the event of any security challenge in your neighborhood? Because once you see it, and that's how it happens in other developed parts of the world, you can respond quicker and faster. So how would it be when somebody that doesn't know even the road to Orile or to Mushin, and there's a distress, you cannot even navigate, So how would you be able to respond very quickly? So those are some of the little gains that we're saying that in federating state, we need to be able to have this power. We need to be able to have this authority to be able to have police, state police, and be able to fund them accordingly, with the right number, with the right citizens to police ratio. Because I would say that in Lagos is far lower than what it should be, so that we can actually employ the right numbers and we can deal with it, right? We have a modest attempt around our neighborhood watch. Neighborhood watch, we use it for intelligence gathering, we use it for just small riots and small issues in community, and they're doing great things. There are about 10,000 of them. So you can imagine if we can have those modest attempts, what we will be doing if we have all of the rights and privilege to have a full state police. We can double the employment in the police force in Lagos State, and it will just become a critical need for us, because security, as you can see, is paramount. It's something that we cannot take to chance. That's what gives investors confidence in and around our various environments. That's what the investors want. That's what the organized private sector want. That's what the international community, that's what they want. That's what brings investment to your community. So it's something that we'll continue to agitate for. It's something that we will not leave, we will not stop. As your governor, I will continue to lead with my other colleagues to ensure that whatever we need to do to be able to get it, we will do it. And we will not stop, until when we begin to see real, genuine reforms that all of us are clamoring for in our country. The second question around, the
how can you confirm for me the integrity of the security camera? Yeah. So when the investigation starts as regards the Lekki incident, how can you confirm to me that the integrity of those cameras have not been tampered with or anything?
Well, so sitting down here, I can say to you that I'm sure they're in safekeep. Like I said, LCC does not have a direct reporter to me. So maybe what we should now do is to be sure that those cameras are kept under lock and key and that nobody have access, to them. But I'm aware. I know that those cameras are tracker cameras. And in the event of any tampering, experts will get experts. I'm not even a camera expert, so I'm sure you are not. So we will get experts, expert in this area that will see, if they are tampered, there are things that I'm sure they will be able to see, because they would have back-end reportage, they will have, off-site, softwares that I'm sure will be available to be seen, and when they start, these are some of the ways in which government can indeed continue to show real transparency, real transparency. And I can assure you, that at the highest level, I will ensure that nothing is left undone. To ensure that
Mr. Governor,
continue to remain a transparent process.
Mr. Governor, when is the investigation going to start into the Lekki incident? When is it going to start? I just want to know that, and a lot of people watch. When is it going to start?
Okay, so today is Thursday. It's a panel that we can set up over the weekend, and probably because we're still in a curfew now, and believing and hoping that all of these things will be behind us in terms of movement in another 1 or 2 days. So we can indeed say that on Monday they should be able to start once we get, the panel constituted over the weekend.
Mr. Governor, there is something I'd like you to clarify for us. There was a phrase in your speech, in your address to the state. You said whatever happened at the Lekki Tolegate Plaza was due to powers beyond our control. Now, what are those powers beyond your control that could be responsible for that incident at the Lekki Tolegate Plaza? I ask this because since that statewide broadcast, there have been conspiracy theories emerging. Some people are saying, look, this is beyond NSAS. Some people are alleging ethnic motives. Some people are talking about terrorism. Since Tuesday, is there some additional intelligence that has been brought to your attention that could justify the skepticism or the conspiracy theories that we have seen? Secondly, earlier on, I said we've not been seeing the police out there on the streets or the military trying to keep us safe. But whatever happened, we didn't also see the fire service. All the fire incidents were just going on unchecked, with no fire service rushing to save BRT buses or save police stations yesterday.
Well, thank you very much, Ruben. I think I'll just take the last question first. Unfortunately, we lost about 5 fire trucks yesterday. We lost 4 fire stations that were also burned. Our first responders, fire officers, were also attacked, and so they all had to run for their dear life. You saw that our first respond emergency management service, LASEMA, their building was also touched in Lekki. Their other building in Kappa, we had to send reinforcement there for them to be protected, and so they also couldn't come out, right? All of those high-moving vehicles, right? There were attempts to actually burn those vehicles yesterday, so they had to retreat back. So like I said, we have pictures to show that our fire trucks were damaged, they were destroyed. Every attempt they made to want to come out, the various levels of, protesters were met on the road, hoodlums, and they had to retreat. 1 or 2, I think about 3 fire stations too were touched, and there are evidences to this. And so they had to retreat for the safety of their own men. I was still on the phone with the head of the director of fire service. I think it was around about 4 or 5 o'clock last night, trying to be sure that, her men are safe. And so she said that they all had to scramble to safety. Very unfortunate. So that's why you didn't see them. They were all prepped up to go out, but each time they want to, they met protesters all along the line, and so they had to retreat, and their vehicles were damaged. To your first question, I would be very careful and with what I say. There have been reportage, there have been communication, there have been audio communication that we've seen, that we've heard, that connotes or suggests that there's more to the answers that all of us thought. But like I said, I cannot begin to make extensive comments. I cannot begin to make comments that might also sound as insensitive. I think these are the work of the security operatives. I'm sure they are also in possession of some of these materials, visuals, audios that we've seen, and it just goes to some quarters that, well, we need to investigate some of these happenings deeper than what we see, out on the street. And like I said, it's a work of the intelligence officers, security operatives, who will be able to dimension and ascertain clearly, what they make out of this. There'll be several, contraptions. There'll be several, but at my level, I cannot begin to speculate. I cannot begin to guess, if they are not being properly verified and confirmed by the security operatives at the highest. But yes, indeed, we also saw some of those things, and they've been passed on, to them. Regarding my speech, so that we don't take my speech, out of context and just use a line, So this was a speech that I coined up myself. And so what I was trying to explain is that the hierarchy and the chains and command of the military are not within my purview. It's not something that I know. It's not something that I have responsibility for, right? And so I do not pretend that I have such powers to control or to activate the military. That's essentially what I was trying to explain in that particular phrase.
Well, we'll be watching the panel closely, and we do hope that deliberations are made public. I think that would be necessary considering the current climate. I wanted to ask you about a theory that's also making the rounds. Do you think that there's a possibility that there's some secessionists behind the mayhem that we saw in Lagos?
It's actually becoming something that we need to review. Honestly, it's very scary. It's very scary because I asked myself that, how did we get here? Was it all just about NSAS? I mean, how would we be destroying what we all worked for? We all want to have. How would somebody be destroying brand new public buses that are meant to ameliorate your suffering? How would people be destroying our heritage, the oldest courts on our land that we've preserved, that can become a monumental museum in future? How will people be destroying the highest traditional institution of our state? I mean, so these are some of the things that were pondering through my mind. All on to end police brutality. Will that just be the reason? I think all of us need to just reflect a lot more on that and see that, are there other agendas that we do not know? Are there people having other means, and they're using these peaceful protests to come under the shadow and perpetrate other things? I think these are very scary thoughts that I personally was having. And I begin to wonder that why would we have this level of public destruction? These are assets that are public assets. I will live here as a governor. I've done over 500 days. But these are assets that we all cherish. These are assets that we need to transfer and hand over to ourselves. Public transportation, we've built brand new bus terminals of international standard that should be an envy for all of us. So these are very scary things. But I do not want to begin to sectionalize or speculate. Like I said, these are things that the security operatives will need to dimension. But as somebody in the political space, It's a source of concern for us. It's something that we also need to sit back and reflect and digest and truly look at our social, political, conglomeration. How are we relating? Are we so far off from the reality? These are very deep thoughts that have been pounding through my mind in the last 48 hours.
Well, Mr. Governor, as we begin to wrap up, what do you see as the way forward, the road ahead? And what's your message to the people of Lagos State and Nigerians generally at this point?
Thank you very much, Dr. Abati. I think we're at the point where all of us, as a people, as a state, as a nation, need to come together now more than ever before. We're at a point in which the national anthem that indeed we all sing every day, the green, white, green flag that we all hold on every day, needs to be put to test. We need to re-engage ourselves and bring ourselves together. We need to heal the several wounds, deep wounds that we've created for ourselves. We do not have any other country. This is our country. And everybody has as much right as the other person. And so we need to understand and know that the stronger we are together, the better we'll remain as a country. In Lagos State, we, not just by word of mouth, are the most resilient, forward-looking economy in our country. We cannot put to waste what our forefathers, generations before us, have put in place. We need to preserve these things. We need to know that indeed we can build a future for the future leaders that are coming behind us. We need to end any form of anger. We need to end any form of protest. We need to end any form of bleeding, confrontation, and let's start a real healing process. Because this is what Lagos is. This is the place that we do not discriminate the color of your skin, the religion you serve, or your ethnic national. We are one. We are together. And that's what we truly should stand for. And so as your governor, it's a very tough time, but it's a time where leadership must indeed stand up and stand out. So I want to call on everyone that we should please use this opportunity, use this time to engage one another and to come together so that indeed we can take our state forward. We can heal our wounds. We can have true, real, genuine reconciliation. And we can build a Lagos that indeed will be a greater Lagos for all of us. I'm committed to that. I will not stop until I achieve that. I have a mandate, your mandate, to ensure that I create an enabling environment for all of you, for your businesses to thrive, for security of life and property. And I will not relent in that activity. I can assure you that you have all of my energy to continue to serve you humbly and to continue to do the best for the interests of all of us. It will continue to be the greatest good for the greatest number. And that's what I believe in. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Governor Babajide Sanwoolu, Governor of Lagos State, for giving us this opportunity to have this conversation with you around latest developments in Lagos State and Nigeria. Thank you.